Hi there. In our early tutorial, we saw that how can we create our Redux store or slice with the Redux toolkit's helper function called createReducer or createAction or createSlice method. And now we are going to handle the asynchronous task by the createAsyncThunk middleware. So let's see how can we do that. For that, I am going to my project. Let's comment out everything. Let's remove all the previous comment here, and then we only need these two part and no need the user, no need the product, and no need everything. Let's comment out this line. Now here, instead of hard-coding passing the hard-code value, we will create a function. We will fetch our API from the backend. For that, I am going to JSON placeholder, and I am using this API. For that, let's copy the URL, and in my app I have to create another. To access or to read the API, consumer API, I need a package called Axios. Let's create a function here. Let's fetch data and Axios dot get and return the let's pass as a literal string, and now I need a user /1. That means if I need to fetch single user, I can use the users.1, and if I need to read a single to-dos, I have to type that to-dos this way. So these two arguments I need to pass from my argument, so I have to pass here. It will be the args or params, whatever we call. So instead of hard coding value, I will use the params this way. Now when we fetch this function, I will call this function this way. Fetch data, it will be user/user1, or I will keep this way. Fetch data, it will be todos.1 or todos.10 or something this way. So let's comment out these two lines here, and now our Axios is written and promised, so I have to wait, and for that I have to create this function as async. Now we know that Axios return an object called data, and let's return the data. The data, if I pass users, the data will be user. If I pass to-dos, the data will be to-do. So let's consume our user API here. For that, let's comment out this line, and this is a promise, so I have to either handle the enable method, then it will be console.log. If I save my file, go to my dashboard, I can see I am getting the user from my API. So if I pass user1, I will get user1's data, and if I pass to-dos 1, I will get to-do1 data. So I can see I can consume my API. Now I have to push this data into our Redux store. So how can you do that? I have to dispatch the output into my Redux store. So for that I have to type this way, it will be store dot dispatch, and this inside this dispatch I have to pass the data. That means the data. If now it will be for let's at first read the user. So for that users, and I have to pass the user slice. That means I already import the user slice here, so I have to pass the user reducer inside my dispatch. It will be user reducer dot success scenario. In our early tutorial we pass the hard-coded data like this way. It will be user will be the user, and my user was the hard-coded user. So this time instead of this user I will pass this function. So for that I have to put this function inside this callback, and we know the fetch data returns data here. It will be user, so I have to pass this code inside this function. Now let's see what we get. If I save my file, and this time let's read the user slice. If I save my file, I can see the user slice appears from my store, because my store has loading error user this way. So I can see I can use the store. If I remove the slice name, just it will return the entire store. So I have two slices, first on the product slice and second on the user slice, and the user slice has the user this way. So let's only read the product slice here. Now we can see that how can we read the product slice. Let's see how can we access the user slice. It will be the same syntax. That means at first fetch data function and pass the argument. It will be todos slash suppose 2 title reading 2, and this fetch data is a promise. So I have to do for 2 way. I can use the asynchronous function, then wait, or I can use the thenable method. Then and it will I have the data, because the data will be product or to do. Let's name is product, and inside this function I have to store.dispatch, and this dispatch will be from the product slice. So I have to uncomment this product, and I have to use the product reducer, then success scenario. It will be product. But in a real life let's see in real life scenario. Actually let's save the file and see the I am using the product and I am getting the to-dos from the product. That means my both request working. Now in real life scenario we have 3 scenario. At first we will try to request, and then we add the loading flag, and when our request succeed we show the success scenario, and then if we get the error then we show the error message. And all the 3 scenario we handled in my reducer. For example, if I go to, I can see I handled this 3 scenario already. So let's put the all 3 scenario here. It will be at first, it will before the fetch data I will dispatch store.dispatch, and it will be, for example, it is user, so it will be user reducer dot requested. It will show the error message, and then it will show the promise, and then we want to actually, let's put the inside the data, and then if the request failed, that means the catch method it will be the error, and in the error message I will dispatch here error will be failed, and I will provide the error.message, because we know our error, we will get error message if we do something wrong. So let's comment out these to dos for now and make a mistake. For example, make user.2 or user.20 or 11, because we know that in Fish API that in package JSON placeholder has 10 user by default, and I am trying to reading 100 user, that is not available. So what I get, let's see. If I save my file, if I go to my package, I can see I am not getting any error, any product, but it returns null, but it does not throw errors. That is the reason our error is empty. But if I mistype something like this one, actually I am getting no error. Maybe this Fish API does not return any errors, so I do not need to worry about the error for now. So I can see that this is the real world scenario. Let's fix the error. Now I am getting nothing. Actually I am reading product. It will be user. Let's make the same error again. Make the same error, that means users, or let's 101. What we get? We get the error that the request failed, because we do not have 100 user in this API. So that is the reason error is false. So I can see that requested handler succeed and fail scenario. Now in this case I am using the Fish API outside of my Redux store, and I am handling in this API inside my app. But redux-toolkit has a mechanism to handle the asynchronous task directly in the store or in the reducer function. So how can we do that? Let's see that. For that, let's copy this function, and I am already handling the user here. So let's handle the product in my product slice. So I am going to my product slice and paste the code here. Now at first I have to create async_thunk from the Redux middleware. So if I type createAsyncThunk, this createAsyncThunk require two arguments, and first argument will be same name as the reducer. So at first it will be the product and then the name. Name can be anything. Let's get product. This is the first argument, and second argument is a callback function. But we already define our callback function here. So let's copy this callback function and put this callback function here. And this asynchronous thunk is also a closure. That means this asynchronous thunk return and function. So I have to store that function inside this variable. Now I am getting error that my Axios does not exist. So let's import the Axios. XCS. Now I am get, actually it is not error, it is a warning. We can see now I have to handle this warning in my extra in my reducer has another property called extra reducers. So it is the last and the fourth property. So I have to extra reducers here, extra reducers, and this extra reducers is a function. We already discussed when we use the create reducer function, and we saw that how can we handle any state with the builder function. This syntax will be exactly same here. So it will have a builder property, and this builder property will be have builder dot add case, and the add case will be exactly the same name as this function. That means fetch data. It will be fetch data, and this we know it is a promise. So it is a promise, and that is the reason we handle with the createAsyncThunk. When we pass any callback function is createAsyncThunk, it returns some arguments or property. One is that fulfilled, and this add case returns two arguments again. First one this way, data with fulfilled scenario, and it will be a function. Second one will be a function, and this function will be exactly same as this function. That means first one will be a state and second one will be action, and it return a function. So return an object. At first let's copy the original state value, and then I am passing the, it is the success scenario, so I have to pass the value. That means action.payload, and that action.payload will be saved as inside a product. That means this product, because in this function return product, if I pass product it will return product. So I will call this function as this way. Fetch data will be passed the, actually it will be to do's /1 this one. So let's comment out this line, and it will return an object. As we saw here, it returns an user or product. So I have to save this action.payload inside a product. Product will be action.payload. Exactly the same syntax. This is the success scenario. So now I have to export this function anywhere where we need. So let's export this function here. Fetch data. Now in my product has third property called fetch data. So if I go to my app, in my product, that means this product has a third property called fetch data. So instead of actions I can use fetch data this way, or I can use fetch data as fetch product. So I have to call this function here, where I was calling the product this way. Now I am calling the product another way. Let's comment out this line and comment out this line again. Remove the XCS from here and reduce this function, and now I will only call this function here, get product, and I have to pass the to do's because I am trying to read the product. So it will be to do's the /1. Now I have to pass this function in my dispatch, because unless we pass into dispatch our value will not be saved into the store. So I have to pass into dispatch. So for that I have to type this way. It will be product reducer, so I have to also get the product reducer from here. It will be actions will be product reducer and product reducer dot succeed and need data. So inside this data I am passing this function. In success scenario I am passing the hard-coded value like succeed. Let's copy this line and go to top. Now in this line I have to type the product name this way and I have to pass the hard-coded product, but when we use the createAsyncThunk we get the fish data and rename this fish data into product, and then we inside this product reducer I am passing the fish data. At first it may seem little bit confusing. Let's remove all the renaming line. I am renaming because I have two property here. One is the user and one is the product, and both has the same name. That is the reason I am always renaming. So if I save my file, go to my I am facing some errors. It says that get product not a function. That means get product, it fish data. Let's see, in product fish data will be available in my, let's comment out this line, and product slice must return fish data. So if I console log require, actually console log the whole require this one. Let's see what we get. Save my file. I can see I am getting fish data, so it will be available in my actions and the fish data. So I must have the fish data here. So let's check out. I mistype here. It will be fish data instead of diff data. So now if I type some this way, it will be, let's go to my end of the screen. If I save my file, my data added in my database. So how can we check that? Let's go to my where is describe method. Let's try to read the product slice. I am getting nothing. Let's actually let's console log outside so that I can understand what I am getting. Product is null. That means I am getting nothing. This product, let's see the problem. In my product handling fulfilled state, product will be action.payload. Let's see the problem. Actually here is everything fine, but the problem here, because I do not have succeed anymore, because I am creating completely differently. So it will be directly, it must be dispatched directly. So I do not need the action here. Actually this line will be coded this way. It will be store.dispatch, and inside this dispatch I have to type this function. Actually copy function here to here, this one, because this get function is not inside the reducer. If it was inside reducer, then I have to call this one, but it is not inside reducer, so it will be the product, the hard-coded value, so it will be wrong way. That is the reason I am facing this error. Now I do not need this product reducer, so remove this product reducer here. If I save my file, if I go to my product, I am getting nothing. Actually, let's I have to put inside the function because it takes some it is a promise, so it takes some times. So I have to use the where is my subscriber? I have to uncomment this line and read that product from here. So if I save my file, I can see my products appears. If I type outside this subscribe block, it will not work because our dispatch takes some times to fetch data from the backend. So that is the reason if I type here, it will run immediately, but our asynchronous task takes some times. That is the reason I do not get the output unless I am passing the data into the subscribe method. That means when our data appears, that means our store modified, then this block will be called. That means when our data feeds from this user, I will get this message from here. That means I will always read after I feed store, or we can pass inside before, it doesn't matter because it will only trigger after my state value changes. So if I save my file, I can see it works fine. Now let's try to fetch data with the user. So let's get the user. For that I have to go to actually I have to create the same fetch method here, user. So I can copy value, but instead let's typing so that it will be little bit practice. So at first I have to create the createAsyncThunk. So it will be createAsyncThunk, and at first we need argument, and first argument will be the same name as the slice name, so it will be user. Then I can type any name like get user, and then it will be function, and this function whatever value, actually let's this createAsyncThunk return a function because it is a closure. So constant I am getting a get user or get user or fetch user, actually fetch data. Whatever name I provide here, I provide the fetch data. So let's provide the same name, fetch data. Now when I call this fetch data here like this way, fetch data, whatever value will pass, I must pass something like user /1 or 2 or something. So whatever value we pass from this argument, that data will be available in my argument here. So it will be user or user ID or params, because it takes user ID and says then extra. So I have to call the XCS here. So for that, let's copy the XCS part here, and it is a promise, so I have to make this function as a async, and again I have to import the XCS. So AXIOS XCS require XCS. So I am getting the same data. Now I have to handle the fetch data in our extra reducer. So let's go to my extra reducers. For that, extra reducers, and we know extra reducers is a function, and inside this function I have the builder method or builder prop. So builder have add case, and this add case must have the same function that we provide here, and as we pass this function inside the createAsyncThunk, it must be available some properties like fulfilled, then whatever value, let's see the value available here. It will be the fetch data, then it will be fulfilled, another will be rejected, and another will be pending. So if we want to show the loading flag, then we will handle the pending method. So here I will only show the success scenario, so it will be fulfilled. If you fulfilled, it is the first function. The second function will be, the second argument will be function, and we know this will be the same function as this one. So let's copy this line. Actually, I'll copy the entire function and then replace this function here. I have the builder functions ready. Now I have to export this function, that fetch data. So I have to go to action and I have to fetch data. Now if I go to my app, now I am available. I no need to actions, and it will be fetch data, and again these two function has the same name, so I have to rename here get product. So actually it will be get user. Now I have to call this user exactly the same way as here. So it will be store.dispatch, and I have to call the get user function, and I have passed the same argument. It will be user /1 or 2, and if I do so, let's read the entire state or store. If I save my file, I can see I have the user slice and the product slice. The initial value is empty, user also empty, and product also. Where is the product? Initial value is user empty, product empty. Then our product result will invoked, and then I get the user null but product available, and little bit later I am getting the user again. That means I have user and then product. Let's read one by one. Let's read one by one. Let's read the user. Save my file. I am getting the user slice, loading error and the user. And if I try to use the product slice, I am getting the product slice only. Now this is the way to handle our asynchronous task directly inside our slice, product slice or any slice. So this way I can see that my code is a lot more simpler. All the comment out is below, but this is my code. So this way I can all the store related task will remain in the store or slice, and our application has all the logic that related with the application, not with the Redux store. This way our code is a lot more simpler. So hopefully you understand that how the RinkevichMusic handle asynchronous task with the extra reducer property. Now in our next tutorial we will see that how can we use a Redux store with the front-end library, because in backend, like here I am using node application. So in backend we do not need this store or Redux store anymore, because we can directly communicate with the database. So we do not need to save anything inside Redux cache or Redux memory. So this Redux store only will be helpful or more appropriate for the front end, because front end cannot access the database directly. So this way we can create all the update in a single place, and then we can consume from the single place. This way our application will be a lot more simpler. So in next tutorial we will talk about the how can we amplify how can we add Redux store in our React application. So let's see in our next tutorial.